Hey everybody, welcome back to Elysium. For today's video, I wanted to go over Banu Haqim today because I only have one set of vampires. I got the pre-made deck from 5th edition, Banu Haqim, and it's the only Assamite cards that I have. So I'm going to look at that artwork, and they are going to consist of one video because that's all I've got. So this will be a one-off, but we'll see how it goes. And before I get started, I wanted to establish what are the criteria that I'm looking for a good Banu Haqim vampire. Well, their abilities are celerity, obfuscate, and blood sorcery. Plus, they are a Middle Eastern vampire clan. So what I want to see from these vampires is a strong Middle Eastern influence and maybe some hints of their vampire disciplines. So without further delay, I'm going to start with the youngest, as usual, Bijou by Heather V. Kreiter. This is a really good vampire. Right away, right off the bat, I see a strong Middle Eastern look to her. She looks very Middle Eastern. She's got the long dark hair. She's got the narrow angular face. I am loving that gray lipstick. It's very gothic looking. Her skin tone is not as pale as I would prefer to see on a vampire. Do I even see a vampire? I see a very pretty Middle Eastern girl. So I'm glad that the Middle Eastern is there. She definitely looks Banu Haqim. I love that enormous gaudy necklace with the blood red jewels in it. That's perfect. Does she have blood sorcery? She does. So yeah, there you go. I can't tell if that is gloss on her lower lip. I think it is. I don't think those are teeth. If those were teeth, I don't know, the skin tone still throws me off. It seems to be something that a lot of these artists are not consistent with. Half of these vampires have a skin color as though they're still alive. And if I understand the lore correctly, that is not consistent with the lore. They are supposed to be notably pale, not freakishly pale, but pallid. And this girl looks nice and healthy. Very pretty, very nice artwork. I would play with this vampire. Well, if I were to play Banu Haqim, I would have to play with all of these vampires that we're looking at. But I like Bijou. Very cool. The next one is Nyarana by Noura Hervonen. Now, you guys might remember, if you've seen some of my Bruja videos, I'm not a fan of the children vampire look. Now, this girl looks a little bit older. She looks like she could be a teenage vampire. And this artist, Noura Hervonen, seems to be really good at getting the right skin tone. See, this girl does not look freakishly white, but she looks kind of sickly. It looks like there's something's different about her skin color there. I think the little vampire fangs that she is showing are perfect. They're not too flashy. She's almost accidentally showing them. And it makes her a little bit more adorable. This is a very cute picture. Now, in my personal opinion, I'm not a big fan of this lavender hair. I don't know why a Middle Eastern vampire would have lavender hair. That seems kind of like a modern-day California thing. And I think this vampire would be past that. I think she'd be too mature. She is a capacity 4, so she's not a brand new vampire. She's been around the block by now. And I don't think she'd have lavender hair. I think it kind of ruins the picture. It just strikes me as odd that a member of a clan of vampires notorious for their assassins would just not take that calling very seriously. Again, it's just a personal thing. I wish she didn't have the lavender hair. I wish she had the black hair or the dark brown hair. Does she look Middle Eastern? I guess. I don't have to stretch my imagination too far to see this as an adorable Middle Eastern teenage girl. And I love the skin color, and I love the little fangs showing. Nayarana. Maybe I'm a little split on her. I think I do like her. I like everything about this picture, quite frankly, except for the hair color. I'm just not buying that a vampire would do that. Anyway, like maybe a Toreador. I could see a Toreador dyeing their hair lavender on a whim. They're kind of carefree like that. But the Banu Haqim are very disciplined, and they don't care about stupid American fashion fads. I've probably been talking about that for too long. It is a beautiful picture. And, well, I would have to play with her. Next up is Greg Mazzuni by Amy Wilkins. Now, you're going to hear me gush about Amy Wilkins, but not right now. I think this vampire looks very Middle Eastern. There's just something about the beard and the hairstyle that tells me this is a Middle Eastern guy. Is there like a running joke with the sunglasses that I'm just not getting? Do these artists forget that these are creatures of the night? And I just don't get it. It must just be a style thing that I'm just not that I'm not jiving with. But this guy looks great. I like him. This is an example of a picture where we are standing just a little too far away from the vampire. I would love to be able to see his face better. I think he would have good vampiric features. Again, I see a Middle Eastern guy here. I don't necessarily see a vampire, which is a shame because normally Amy Wilkins is a genius at conveying vampirism without doing it in the obvious ways. But not in this picture. I don't really see a vampire. Greg Mazzuni. Next up, we have War Maxon by Clint Langley. And oh my goodness. I would not complain if this entire game emulated this art style. Look at this. It's dark. It's surreal. Something's a little off about the proportions, but it doesn't ruin the picture. It just makes the picture a little bit more ominous. I feel like I'm having a dream about this vampire, and this is how he appears in my dream. Just in the shadows, his face is very shadowed, and yet we're getting a small glint from one of his eyes that tells us he notices us. He's looking at us. And a very subtle detail is the cup of blood that he's holding. That tells me vampire right there. Also, possibly blood sorcerer. Well, let's look. Yep, he is a superior blood sorcerer. This is just phenomenal. This picture perfectly conveys the atmosphere of the game. It's dark and it's brooding and it's harsh. And being a vampire is a very dark life. And I do see Middle Eastern notes in his beard and his hair. This is just phenomenal. I am enchanted with this picture. It's everything I want. Is his skin pale enough? I don't know. He's kind of a little too in the shadows for me to make that distinction, which is fine with me. I do see a vampire. I do see a Middle Easterner. This is a Banu Haqim assassin. Very cool. Very nice picture. Next, we have, by Nora Hirvonen again, Asman Kobane. Or Kobani, who knows. I don't speak Middle Eastern. Once again, Nora gets the skin tone perfect. I'm very pleased with the skin tone. Very pleased. And do I see a vampire? If so, it's going to be in the eyes. I see vampiric eyes looking at me here. I definitely see Middle Eastern. We've got a turban. We've got little beads hanging off the turban. We've got that Middle Eastern military look. I love this. It hits all the right notes. I don't need to see the teeth to know that this is a vampire. Yeah, I don't know what more you could ask for from a Banu Haqim. This is very Banu Haqim. Assassin, Middle Eastern, vampire. It's all here. It's the complete package. I really like this card. This vampire just looks fantastic. And thank goodness Nora did not give him purple hair. My word. Next, we have Khadija Al-Kindi by Samuel Araya. Now, let's take a moment and just gush over this artwork. The reason I love this art is the same reason I loved War Maxon. Different artist, though. War Maxon was Clint Langley. Khadija Al-Kindi is Samuel Araya. Now, I've noticed that Samuel Araya's paintings are always very ethereal, very darkly ethereal, and I love this. Look at this vampire. Perfect skin tone for a vampire. The blood red eye, the blood red lips, the blood red blouse. I see Middle Eastern. I definitely see vampire. I see blood sorceress. Once again, just like with War Maxon, this nails all of the requirements. It meets all of my criteria. This is a masterpiece of a Banu Haqim vampire. I am just beside myself looking at this. It's so dark. And she's looking at us with this mix of compassion and disdain. And I can't tell which, but either of those things would just fit the vampiric vibe so nicely. I love this picture. I am in love with this picture. And I'm probably going to say that more than once about Samuel Araya's work, because he seems to embrace that vibe of ethereal and dark. Love it. Love it. Let's keep going. Cassandra Tasaki by Ken Meyer Jr. Ken Meyer Jr. has been illustrating for a long time. He is still at it. So right off the bat, yes, I see a Middle Easterner here. And holding a big old tome of magic. So I see a blood sorcerer here. She does have blood sorcery. She's very pretty. She's got big, juicy red lips. She's got a red leather jacket. Stunning green eyes. I don't really see a vampire, which is fine. I kind of shrug. She looks really good. I can see a blood sorcerer, and so I'm not all that upset about the absence of the pallid skin. It doesn't bother me that much. I I would happily play with Cassandra Tasaki or Tasaki. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about her. She's very pretty. This is a beautiful girl. Beautiful picture by Ken Meyer Jr. His style is just a little bit more comic bookish than some of the others, and that's fine. Like, this picture isn't nearly as dark as some of the others. Does this fit the atmosphere of the game? Well, not quite as well as Khadija Al-Kindi did. She looks good. She looks blood sorcery. I like her. Next, we have just a few more. Kalinda. See, again with the sunglasses, I don't get it, but at least these glasses are red. I like her arm tattoo and how it kind of almost comes off of her arm with the way it's colored. I like the tattoo coming off of her eye. I like her stunning green eyes. This is what Nayarana could have looked like. See, here's Nayarana. Right skin tone, but it's that darn purple hair that I just couldn't get past. But with Kalinda, she doesn't have that problem. She's got the dark Middle Eastern hair. If you tell me this is a Middle Eastern teenager, I would go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm sold. The vampire side I don't see as much. She does have dark red lips and the red sunglasses. She's got those eyes that kind of pop. I just can't. I'm trying to make the vampire materialize on her, and it's not working. I see another teenage girl, and shrug, sure, she's Middle Eastern. Don't see a vampire, but that doesn't mean I don't like her. This is good art here. Next, we have by Krasen Maximov, Farah Saraub. She is a prince of Detroit. I'm not a big fan of this one. I love the background. He nailed that background. It's very dark. It's a dark, dusty little room. But this vampire just looks like a cancer patient to me. She looks too sickly, in my opinion. I don't like when vampires are made to look elderly. The whole point of vampirism is the forever young sort of thing, for better or worse. And when vampires look elderly, it seems like a waste of vampirism. So she looks a little older than she should. She looks Middle Eastern, though. I could buy that. She's got a tome of magic spells, presumably. And she is a blood sorcerer, so that makes sense. I like that. Just, again, like, I'm really taken with that background. Like that dark bookshelf on her left. There's a dark doorway on her right. Like, above her, I'm not sure what that is, like a mirror or a picture. The room she's in just looks so mysterious. Like she studies in this dark, dusty little room. And that's really cool to me. But she just looks too old, a little too round-faced. Vampires aren't supposed to have pudgy faces, in my opinion. It's a beautiful picture, but it doesn't hit the bullseye the way some of them do. I don't like how old she looks, and I don't look how round her face is. But Middle Eastern, yes. Vampire, not really. I know she's pale. She's got the deep red lipstick. I just don't see a vampire here, though. Sorry. And last of all, we've got the Camarilla Banu Haqim Justicar by Ginez Quiñonero. Kasim Bayar. I love this picture. This artist got the vampire skin color down. Normally, I think it's kind of cheesy to have a vampire like opening their mouth and hissing at somebody or whatever they're doing. But it doesn't look cheesy in this one, especially when you know what a Justicar does. This is the guy who assassinates the wayward assassins of his clan. This is a killer of killers. This is a guy that everybody knows not to mess with. And he looks it. I do see Middle Eastern. There is no question that this is a vampire we're looking at. Very nicely done. The colors, the background. I love the buildings in the background. These tall, narrow spires. It's very exotic looking structures behind him. And the eye patch, on the other hand, do vampires ever need eye patches? It was my understanding that they can heal such injuries as a wounded eye. Maybe he just wears it for style. That sounds a little goofy. Maybe he really does need it. But vampires are supposed to be able to heal. So if he's lost an eye, he should be able to get it back. Unless I'm mistaken. That could be my misunderstanding of the lore. That wraps it up. He is the last one, and I love him. Very dark picture, very dark background. It's, again, it's kind of ethereal. It's kind of surreal. I feel like whoever he's looking at right here probably doesn't have long to live. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful artwork. So out of those 10, I think they were all at least okay. There was nothing here that really turned me off. Yeah, that's the Banu Haqim. That's all I've got for them. And if I were to play them, there are extra copies of War Maxon and Cassandra Tasiki. So that would make 12. Like, if I wanted to play Banu Haqim, this is what I've got. And frankly, not bad. Not bad at all. There are no vampires in this deck that I would absolutely refuse to play with. There are such vampires out there, but in the Banu Haqim deck, I at least like them all. Some of them I absolutely love. Well, you guys let me know your opinions in the comments. I would love to know what you agree with and how you feel about these. Thanks for watching.